All right, Minnesota Vikings win total 8.5, under -120. Last year 8-8 straight up, 7-9 to the under. Mainstream stats: 16 giveaways, which was 7th, 27 takeaways. Plus 11 turnover margin was tied for 4th. Offense 5 yards per play, bottom 5. 3.2 yards per rush, dead last. 7 yards per pass, below average. 38 sacks allowed, bottom 10. It was a nasty defense. It was a strange season. They started 5-0. I thought they were going to make the playoffs and make some noise and win a couple games in the playoffs. They lost their head coach with eye surgery. Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, quit in November. The offensive line was decimated by injury. They lost Adrian Peterson. They lost key guys on the defense. After the 5-0 start, the bye week happened at the wrong time, and nothing went right from a health standpoint, and they finished 8-8. It was a horror show after the early start, and the Dallas game at home on Thursday night should have won. They blew both games against Detroit. They should have swept them. They lost to Philly with all those turnovers when there was a kickoff return for a touchdown with the Eagles as well. Every close game went against them down the stretch as well. It was a weird season for the Vikings.
Yeah, but an interesting story with Minnesota, and let's go back to those initial offensive stats. They're bottom 5 in yards per play. They're dead last in yards per rush. They're below average in yards per pass, and they're bottom 10 in sacks allowed. Okay, all of that came, we know the offensive line was bad, and we know that Adrian Peterson got hurt and they couldn't run the football all year. But Sam Bradford came in and had the highest completion percentage of any quarterback in the NFL. And he completed all this dink and dunk and dink and dunk. He didn't take any shots downfield. And they were able to have some success moving the football via the pass. But boy, when it came to crunch time of close games, Sam Bradford did exactly what he's done at every previous stop in his NFL career, which is not make plays with the game on the line. He cost them, I'm not going to say it was Bradford alone, but Bradford, in my mind, a big part of the reason why that offense failed so much over the back half of the campaign following that 5-0 start.
I love what they did in the draft. They got a gift with Cook falling to them at the second round. They also grabbed Murray from the Raiders as they say goodbye to AP, who goes to the Saints as well. They also they addressed the offensive line with a couple moves in the defense as well. I don't think they need a lot. They brought Reif in to shore up the offensive line, and I think they'll compete with Green Bay for the division. What do you think of this team?
Well, I mean, let's start with the defense, because the strength of Minnesota last year and in recent seasons is defense. Mike Zimmer, the head coach, is a defensive mind. He was Marvin Lewis's defense coordinator in Cincinnati, and a bright defensive mind at that. And last year, again, a 5.1 yards per play allowed. That was tied with Seattle for number 5 in the NFL. They had 41 sacks. That was number 5 in the NFL. Their opponent's QB rating, only 83. That was a top 5 pass defense. 4.2 yards per rush allowed was average. Obviously, when we talk about what happened in the draft and the offseason, it was mostly about fixing the offense that couldn't do anything right for extended stretches last year. But defensively, this team does have a lot of pieces in place to have another solid season this year. Certainly that secondary, very, very good on paper, as is the pass rush. When it comes to the offensive line, I mean, glaring weakness last year. Was a complete disaster for this squad. And they spent huge money in free agency. Picked up Riley Reif and Mike Remmers, 2 guys who have been decent, but certainly haven't been elite level offensive line at the NFL level. But you like what they've done on defense. You like at the running back position with a little bit of depth now, obviously Murray and Cook. And you look at the offensive line improvements, maybe there's some things to like about this squad, but there's also some things that I'm not in love with about this squad. And some of it has to do with the interior of that offensive line, where the rookie third-rounder, Pat Elflein, may well end up being the starting center, or Joe Berger, another guy who I don't have a lot of faith in. Zimmer on the offensive line, quote, Riley Reif is playing left tackle, and he's done a nice job. This is after mini camps. He's going to go to work every day, make you compete. He's going to make you work. I really like his mentality. Mike Remmers, who's playing the right tackle, is really doing the same thing. The thing I like about Mike is, he gets a chance to go after Everson Griffin every day, so he's going to give him a lot of different looks. And Danielle Hunter, he gives him a lot of different looks, different sets, changes things up, and he's a battler, and he'll compete. And frankly, that offensive line didn't compete last year. Remmer and Reif have the potential to give them something of an upgrade there, something they desperately need if they're going to be a playoff team this season.
I say good riddance to Patterson. He leaves and goes to the Raiders. But here's another look at. They took Treadwell in the first round last year. He caught 1 pass in 9 games. What's that all about? What a bust that guy was in his first year. What do you have on the schedule?
Well, I don't blame Treadwell. Again, Bradford didn't take any shots. They brought in Treadwell to give...
Well, it's not on him. That's the scheme. Caught 1 pass in 9 games.
No, I'm going to disagree. Bridgewater was, they brought in Treadwell to give Bridgewater a deep threat. Bradford, every pass was a check down pass. So I'm not saying that Treadwell was, he was wide open every play and burning the field and the coaches didn't do it. It didn't get him involved. I'm saying that some of that has to do with the fact that it was a quarterback that took every check down in the Alex Smith fashion. When it comes to strength this season, they have the weakest opposing schedule in the division based on this year's win total numbers. Slightly below average for the NFL as a whole. Very comparable to last year in terms of strength of schedule numbers. Minnesota gets their fair share of prime time games. They got a Monday night game at Chicago. They have a Saturday night game before Christmas at Green Bay, and a handful of late starts as well, plus a game, I believe it's in London, against the Cleveland Browns. They get 3 of their first 4 at home, and in fact, if you look at their schedule pre-bye, no surprise here. The 2 games will be dogs are at Pittsburgh and at home against Green Bay. Every other game they're going to be favored in. No surprise here if the Vikings once again get off to a hot start and face the tougher half of their campaign down the backstretch.
What do you think, 8.5?
I'm not betting them over. I'm worried about Zimmer. I'm worried about the chemistry issues as things fell apart last year. And I'm no Sam Bradford fan. I will not bet Bradford over 8.5.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.